Welcome to Real Lives, Real Money, the show that's designed to get your money right. I'm Cheryl Creuzot, President Emeritus of Wealth Development Strategies.
I'm Nettie Jones, licensed psychotherapist in private practice here in Houston, Texas.
Excellent. You know, Nettie, April is Financial Awareness Month.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
That's right.
And I wonder how many people made New Year's resolutions to get their money right.
Yeah, I wonder too. You know, one of the things I think is that people set out making these resolutions, they just don't follow through with them.
They don't. As a matter of fact, I read recently that 80% of people have not kept their New Year's resolutions by the end of January. Mm-hmm. And that really only 8% of people actually keep their New Year's resolutions.
I wonder what's up
So
with
let's
that.
give folks a second chance.
Yeah.
How about that?
So one of the things I talk to clients about is that instead of making these big resolutions, to kind of start off really small and do things like create intentions. What are your intentions today? And that intention leads to the next intention, of course, ultimately leading to that end goal.
Right.
Baby steps.
To make it easier.
To make it
To make
easy.
that step
Yeah.
forward.
Yes.
Yes.
So one of the things I think is exciting about what we're doing is we're going to talk about the financial component. That's your baby, right?
That's
And I'm
right.
going to talk about the emotions and those
Which
things.
is your area of expertise.
That's right. That's
There we go.
behind what keeps us stuck, what prevents us from moving forward. So
Yes.
where do we
Yes.
start?
Well, we're going to talk about money and how to get your money straight. How to achieve financial security.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure you see this in your practice. I understand that number 2, in terms of the reason for divorce, next to infidelity, is money.
Absolutely.
Is money.
That's right. You know, one of the challenges I believe is that when people get together, they start off with things like love, connection, and they avoid talking about money. They avoid talking about it. And what happens is that you got opposites, how they view money, their behaviors with money, and so then they get married, and then that's where you've got the challenges. So I often tell people that, you know, opposites attract, that's a recipe for disaster. You know, like attract. So if you have the same mindset, the same financial goals, they generally do a little bit better as it relates to their finances.
Right. As we're meeting with clients, very often when we sit down and go through the data gathering, and we're trying to gather information about where a couple is, what their goals and objectives are, that's when we find out that we've got 2 people rowing their boat in different directions.
I love that analogy. So they're in the same boat. Either only one's pedaling,
That's right.
or rowing, and the other one is kind of sitting
Rowing
there
the opposite way.
Or, they
or
both
not
one
rowing at
opposite.
all.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And that's okay if our couples can agree on the big things. Like I want to make sure that we want to be financially independent at some point in time.
Yes.
That I want to make sure that we can send our children to college. All right. The details of how they get there, I think that's more related to the personality.
Absolutely.
But if we can't agree on the big things, that's where I think we see problems. I don't know if you see that in your practice.
No, that you know, it's real interesting how small things become big things.
They do.
And then big things are sometimes just pushed under the rug. And so they often come in with the small things, and then, you know, we end up looking at the bigger things, right? So, good example, a client might come in and they're talking about investment, they're talking about savings and putting money away. The other person is saying, well, what about right now? You know, these are some things that I want to do right now. And so you've got one on this end, kind of like you said, one growing this way and the other one growing that way, which of course creates all kinds of problems.
It does. It's all about compromise though. And that's what it's all about, being a couple, being married. It's about compromise. So a lot of times and it's usually the woman who really wants that safety and security, all right? It might be the other spouse, the gentleman, that wants to go ahead and buy the car or buy the house.
Yes.
So we say, why don't we compromise?
Yeah.
All right, let's prioritize our goals. All right, we want to make sure that we have an emergency fund. We want to make sure that we can start setting money aside for college, start setting money aside for retirement, and then we can do what we want, the fun things out of what's left over.
You know what? This is one that I want to ask this question because I get this often. You know, you were saying the emergency fund, because you know that's pretty standard. I think a lot of people know that. The challenge that I hear is that we're having problems meeting just the day-to-day or the monthly needs.
Right.
So as far as how do I prepare to save for an emergency fund when I can't just get through, you know, just making day-to-day kind of needs met?
Well, that's a good segue, and we're going to talk about that on tomorrow's show.
Okay.
Just about everyone I have met can make significant progress. You'd be surprised. So Nettie, we're going to tackle it all this month.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah, let's get
You'll be
ready.
able to pick up a lot of resources on our website. So we're going to roll up our sleeves and get to work.
And get your mind right. Get your mind right.
That's right. You got to have that mind right before we can do the hard work.
But you've got this book.
We
Tell
do.
them how they can get your book.
So the book is Real Lives, Real Money, and it's available at reallivesrealmoney.com. A lot of very interesting, emotional, gut-wrenching stories
Yes.
about how people have survived real life curveballs.
You know what I love about it is you can relate to it. There's a story in here for everybody.
People have told me that.
That's right.
Thank
you guys
you.
need to get this. Now, where can they go to get this?
reallivesrealmoney.com.
Awesome. All right. See ya tomorrow.
All right.
Bye.